right, guys. How you all doing? Jason, good to see you, brother, man.
And what's up?
How you doing, man? Sorry so late, bro.
I
Apologize for that.
don't sweat it, man. Don't sweat it. We chill here, man. We got enough stuff to stress about with our team in the real world, much less than stress that, man. I'm just glad to see you.
Oh,
Glad you're right. My man
yeah,
Cody,
you too, man.
Jason, and I, we're going to talk some
What's up, Cody?
Dolphins. We're going to talk Dolphins prep for the season here, for the game versus Seattle Seahawks. I got 5 minutes of film. I'm going to try to add a little something different than I usually do. I did a prep this afternoon, got it out late because I'm doing the editing. Hey, JoJo, what's going on? JoJo, what's the word? Hey, Wienergate, man. What is that? Is that you, Wienergate? You changed your name? I can't tell you. I can only have your face. Or is that JoJo? I can't tell you.
Oh, there it is. There. Yeah.
So, hey, what's going on,
What's
bro?
up, JoJo?
Yeah. So, I got 5 minutes of film, and I think it's yeah, I did. I thought so, man. I thought so, brother. I got 5 minutes of film, the first drive, and I want to get into it quick, but I just want to say my little spiel before we talk and everybody, you guys talk and everything. I think that, when you look at football, it doesn't start on the micro. It doesn't start with the guy making a block. When a coach takes over a team or a side of football, he's not focusing on his players making blocks. He's starting from the conceptual level. He's starting from the philosophical level, the schematic level. What's his view on football to achieve his goals? And then he finds his roster, his players, and then he tries to get those players or new players or remove players to fit his philosophical view on how to drive things. And then he tunes it based on his players' skill set, what will optimize them if he's a good coach, and also optimize his philosophy. So, but it goes both ways. When you're going into a game plan against an opposition, whether you're an OC or DC, you start from the philosophical level. What is this team doing, or this opponent decided a ball that I'm going against? What do they do from a philosophical, schematic level? What do I want to do on a philosophical and schematic level? And how does that mesh? How is it in a positive and a negative? And so when you look at film, you can do two things wrong. You can look at the macro and miss the micro, but it's the macro that drives the micro. And so you got to start with the overview of how things are. And Scott, who I'm doing is just really interesting analytics for the framework of a passer. He's had some, he's always has good ideas, real smart guy. And his idea was like, why don't you show them on film? And I kind of have, but I think in this setting, you can question and answer. And I put the first drive that Miami had against the Bills, and you're going to see this as a template for all DCs. You're going to say, oh, this is what, not exactly, but sort of what Jacksonville did, KC did, Philly. Everybody kind of does the same thing to us because the book has kind of been built. In my podcast this morning, I showed how in 2021, Tua was blitzed 31.3% of the time. He had pass rush mitigation calls, which was a play action and screens, not including extra blockers, 50% of the time. And he had a 32.5 pressure rate. Then in 22, the blitzes went down to 25.5. Pass rush mitigation, screens and play actions went down to 48. And then the pressure went down to 25.7. And it was an amazing season, even though it was abbreviated. The depth of target, speed of throw, but it was this new McDaniel thing. And the book had to be rebuilt. So from 21 to 22, the philosophical shift of DC's, how to play to it, how to play this offense, it was confusing. Then you go to 23, you see the blitz rate drop to 22%, pass rush mitigation 45%, pressure 24.9%. But now when you come into this season, you're seeing blitz rate of 13.7%. It's almost 1/3 of it was 21. It's half of what it was in 22 and almost 23. And the pass rush mitigation has taken a strong jump of 11% to 56.4%. The pressure rate has dropped to 17.8. But you have to understand is Why would a coach raise pass rush mitigation when the blitz rate is so low? And for fact, against Skyler, it was 6%. And you're still getting a decent pressure rate at 17.8. And you're seeing 4 guys all day, and they play an umbrella. I said, I talked to somebody who I had a discussion with at the beginning of the season. The linebackers and anyone in the box besides the guys on the line of scrimmage, they're playing high in the box, 5 yards off. That tells you something. They're playing 2 interior D linemen and then 5 technique, 2 edges outside the tackles. And so they're loading up on the edges. If they played 4 technique over the tackles, that would say something. If 1 played over the tackle and 1 played on 5 outside the tackle, that would say something. But the fact that they're playing the outside, they're leaving those 2 DTs interior naked with linebackers 5 yards over. And we've raised our pass rush mitigation calls of screens and play actions despite the blitzing dropping off. And this means they're playing the pass come hell or high water. And that says something. And that's my layout, my preface for this film. And so we'll get into the film after I talk to Jason and Cody, and they can say what they're seeing, what they're feeling. But understand what I just said now, and the film, you could literally carbon copy it for every DC. And until we beat that, the struggles and the inconsistency will continue. Why it is or how to do it, that's up for debate. The whole league itself, the pass game is dropping for a reason. And if a little quick tell, if you go check what they're doing with the Chiefs have copied us. And teams are playing them like they play us in a lot of ways. Not always. In trying to stop the quick pass. Anyway, so that's my little intro, guys. Thank you for anybody stopping by. And we'll dig into it. And I'm going to be honest. And I do think we can win this week. There's some things that kind of popped up that give us some hope. But overall, the season is going to be a grind, an uphill grind. Not saying we can't, but that's my 2 cents. Jason, since you haven't been here for a while, why don't you give your 2 cents, say talk as long as you want, and then Cody, and then any questions, and then we get into the film.
No, man, thanks again for having me, bro. Appreciate it. I saw the same thing. Definitely last week it was more noticeable. But the Bills, I noticed it last year in the first game too, where teams are just playing where they're willing to give us the run. Because the key is to make the Dolphins drive the length of the field, and they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. They're betting that we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot more times than not. Make them drive along, whether it's penalties, whether it's a turnover, whether it's a bad snap, a
negative
drop,
play,
whatever. I mean,
whatever.
that's the MLL. It actually started with the Chiefs last year. The Chiefs last year, at the beginning of the year, remember they got off to that slow start offensively, and they never really got it together. But a lot of teams are playing that too high shell. But the thing that the Dolphins did last year that they do not have this year is the cheat motion, and that I think is and that just got what like a month ago, where the NFL. A month or 2 months ago, about 2 months ago, where the NFL said that that's not allowed anymore. Because I think it was like
it's not that they said. Yeah, they didn't say it's not allowed.
You can't start running. You can't start running. Yeah, the motion. Right. So
and
like
they're kind of like paying attention to it more. So I think the Dolphins are nervous.
You don't see anybody doing it anymore.
Yeah,
you don't see that. Or you see people in motion, but you don't see anybody. As a matter of fact, it was called the other night on Garrett Wilson, I think last night.
Really?
He went a little bit ahead.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because they were
good point
on the jet game. Yeah, they were calling. Yeah, they called it because he just leaned forward a little bit last night, and they called it. So I know. So I think the cheat motion. I think they're trying to adjust. They're just adjust to not being able to do that. And if you saw in the first game against Jacksonville, they didn't do it last week. I don't think that I remember. But if you notice what the Dolphins did in week 1, they tried to do that play that they did last year. You know, that bread and butter play where Hill would run outside and then there'd be a tight end and somebody would hook inside. It was like the three guys on that side, and
Yeah.
Tua would have three options: get the running back out of the flat, the tight end, or Hill, and the Jaguars every single time. I think we did it 3 or 4 times if I remember right. I think we did it 3 or 4 times, and every single time Tua had to clutch because Jags covered that up. Whatever they did,
Yeah.
I didn't see the whole 22, but I
I'm
saw.
gonna go back over that game and watch. I kind of think I remember, but not.
They did it. No, yeah, first play of the game. I think they tried to do it.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Now
check.
we have done some other things. Yeah, we've done like a bubble. I think it's called a bubble motion or a bubble. Where you see a chain go out. I think it's called a bubble motion or something like that. Because I heard. To me, the main thing, like what I also noticed with Tua last week, what he was doing, and I noticed it more last week than I did in week 1, but and I noticed it last year and I don't know if it's lack of confidence in the O-line or if it's a lack of, or just his mechanics or his fundamentals a little bit are kind of lagging off, but he is dropping back too far. He's getting too much depth. The pocket, that's why the edge rushers are having so much success. He's dropping back too far. McDaniel's even been creative and trying to give him different launch points. If you notice, like he does a little rollout, and like if you ever notice that, like the last game, especially against Buffalo, where he tried to like roll him out and move the pocket, slide the pocket a little bit, where Tua can.
Yeah, they've been using Brewer for
drop
that.
back.
Brewer's good at that. Yeah.
Right, so he's trying to do it in the shotgun just to give him a different launch point, just to give him some arm. He could step into the throw. And I noticed Tua just drifting back a lot, and he's throwing a lot off of his back foot. Maybe he did it more often, and I didn't realize it before. But it seems like he's throwing a lot off his back foot. Seems like he's not. I don't know if it's trusting the O-line or what, but I definitely noticed that last week a lot. He just kept dropping back, like. The pocket, you have to step up into the pocket.
I don't think he trusts them. I mean, he shouldn't.
Yeah. Right. I mean, there was somewhere he was clean. And he could have stepped up into the pocket. Like, I think there was a throw to Hill. It was on the out route where Tua, like I said, there was a slid pocket and he rolled out, and I think he missed him on the sideline. It was like he was throwing the ball out of bounds. It sailed on him. I don't know what happened, but and Hill tried to make the catch, but he had 1 foot out of bounds. Yeah. So just little things like that. I mean, we've ran the ball 31. I thought the game plan was perfect last week, but the problem was the turnovers and penalties. Screwed us. I mean, I thought the game plan last night, Mike was like, all right, we're going to stick to the run. We're going to run. But the turnovers and the penalties, we kept getting behind the chains. 3rd and 17, 3rd and 12, 2nd and 20. It just happened too many times. And then the turnovers were just too much. You're not going to beat Buffalo with, 3 interceptions.
Well, I would say that in some ways, because I was at the game, in some ways it was it was going right, but what I'm seeing is that they're like fishermen. They let you take the bait and they let the reel run. And then if they're concerned about your run game, interior run game, because the exterior run game, they can play their pass coverage and exterior run game. The same thing. I'm going to show that in this film. But when they want to, they can snap it. And they snapped it on that 3rd and 1 where Ingle got buried.
Yeah, that was a,
if you go back to the first 3rd and 1 on the first drive, you'll see in this film, we barely made it, and they let us have it. So I think that it's more smoke and mirrors than success. And we run outside, and you can see the outside runs, and the outside runs, outside zone stretch, and all that stuff is always more difficult to be consistent. It's usually hit or miss, where the inside zone's kind of it's like okay or pretty good. It's a tendency. There's more consistency inside because you go north and south.
Yeah.
But I think the problem too is we can't really dictate the interior, and we never take so much and most of the runs we had were all gap runs where guys are in motion, they're going this way and that. And if you go back and when you watch the old 22, you can see, Brewer's getting blown up. He's kind of holding on the last minute. It's all barely holding together with all this motion, and it makes it more difficult. But you can't do that in the red zone. You really can't do that on 3rd and short when they are all on the line of scrimmage, just blow it up.
Stack the box.
And so some people disagree, but I think it's more smoke and mirrors. And you also have to remember too.
Oh yeah, deception. It's a deception based, no doubt about it. Yeah, it's deception based to get you going one way, we go the other. The Bills just stay at home; they don't fall for it. They're good, well coached. But I also think if you look at this roster, where's the personnel to play smash mouth football? What are you going to do? You're going to block with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and you're going to have your little running back running right up the gut, between the tackles. Even if we did have a good O line, where's the personnel on offense to basically, I guess, play smash mouth football if they wanted to?
It's not. I would say it's not smash mouth, because that's there's a denotation to that, that you're teacupping it. It's not really that. So you can see. Say
pound the rock,
at moments, take control of that A and B gap, even with some level of consistency. And so, it's like a triple option. yeah, there you go.
Triple option. Let's bring back Paul Johnson from Georgia Tech.
They got a lot. Seattle's got a lot of injuries. There is opportunity, especially on this turf with our speed. I don't think that's going to bode well for the future per se, but I do think their linebacking group's decimated. I still think we're probably going to lose no matter what, but I do see a little bit of opening. But so for me, it's okay, if you want,
definitely.
If you want to go inside, Eichenberg can't move anyone, Brewer can't move anyone, Jackson can't move anyone. So then you go to the other side, you got Tehran, who's a move blocker. He's not a drive blocker. And then you got Rob Jones, who can move guys, but nobody else can. And so it's a really poorly conceived design. It's a poorly conceived design from the top. That's my belief is Greer is really just a bad GM. He's got a terrible vision.
Oh,
yeah. I don't think and if the bad part with him is, I love my man Tehran, but he was beaten by Allen way too much, and he never would have been beaten by him. And that was a bad sign for me. I was a little concerned over that. I'm concerned he's in.
By who beat him?
Last week, Allen.
Hines.
Yeah.
Allen.
And he would never get beat by that guy, but he struggled. He had a.
I find it so hard to believe that all of our O linemen for the past 3 years are not good blockers. I just can't. I can't wrap. I just refuse to believe that, and that our offensive line for the last couple of years, they're that bad. I just can't believe that.
Well, they're not. Connor Williams was great.
The players.
Connor Williams was excellent, and him and Hunt were one of the best combos, center guard combos in the league. And Tehran, when healthy, was elite.
But even Hunt was having Hunt was down for a little while where he was not playing well, especially last year at the beginning. Maybe he was injured, but he was having some. He got better, but I mean he had some bad. I remember last year, Hunt, everybody wanted to get rid of him, and then he really got better. The O line I don't know, for some reason they just don't have it. I think injuries are the main thing too. There's no continuity. When's the last time we've had a 3 or 4 game stretch where we've had the same 5 offensive linemen? I'd love to know that stat if anybody has it. Where we have the same 5 offensive linemen on the field.
Well, here's the thing to think about though, Jason. When you can have 4 guys that are capable helping one guy who's average, and even at times semi not capable. But when you got 2 guys that are incapable, and you've got to protect them, the 3 guys can't. And you go back and look what we were able to do, even with Shell.
Well, the defense will attack that weakness too, yeah.
So the problem is that Greer has banked on Eichenberg, who's a practice squad player. He's banked on Jackson, who's a backup, and paid him $12 million. And he's brought in guys like Cotton and Meyer, who would start for nobody, or Wynn, who really wouldn't start for anybody. I mean, he's okay if you have a great, if you have the rest of the guys really good. He can't drive block. He's always injured. And so the problem is that you had really, Y2 was so good, and we almost beat the Bills, is because Tehran was mostly healthy year 1, and Hunt and Connor were healthy year 1. And they were able to kind of buoy things with Shell, who was a vet. and you were able to kind of keep things afloat. Although Eichenberg would sink you, Jones would come in. But then year 2, you really didn't have much. You really didn't have Jackson is a weak point, except in certain areas. But once he pigeonholes you, the defense says, okay, I know what he can do and he can't do, and the rest of the guys can and can't do. And so it puts too much pressure. And now this year, you got Brewer. I mean, he was released from the Titans for a reason. They went with what's-his-face, the guy from the center from the Denver for a reason. I mean, he's really good at getting to places, but when he gets there, he doesn't really do it.
Cushenberry.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Cushenberry.
Yeah, Cushenberry, yeah. And so, I mean, you were sold that, I'm sorry, Jackson, I'm sorry, Eichenberg, and Brewer's a star. But you'll see, he's not. So you've got Cotton and Jones, who doesn't fit the system. And so the offensive line makes the NFL world go around. It's the most critical. If you had 5 average guys and 2 average guys as backups, you can make things happen if you have star talent. But Jackson's below average. Eichenberg is terrible. He's got flaws. If you had 2 big guards next to him to make up for his lack of power, then you could be successful. So I think that it's
what's the guy that for the Eagles? They just got him from the Jets. Sorry to interrupt. Mekhi Becton. I see him playing on Philly. I'm like, he was a free agent. They just signed a 1-year deal. Like he looked pretty good. I watched both Philly games to start the year. I mean, Mekhi Becton looked pretty good. Like, why? He's a big, what is he, 360 pounds or something? It's crazy. It's like, and he looks good for Philly. But again, another team that just they churn out offensive linemen. Like Detroit. Detroit churns out offensive linemen. I don't know what it is. I like Brewer, in my opinion, in Tennessee. They were asking him to be an anchor center, like you said, get drive blocking. I think Brewer does fit this scheme, but I think, like you said, the guards are so bad around him. He's going to look, who knows what they're being asked to do. I can't believe that. I find it hard to believe that we just can't find competent O linemen.
Well, okay, I'll say this to you, Holland. Think of it this way. Okay, so we spent 2 on Kinley, 2 4th-round picks. We spent a 3rd on Dieter. We spent the 18th overall Jackson, a 2nd, 3rd, and Eichenberg. I don't know who else I'm missing, but
Robert Hunt was a 2nd.
That was a big hit, and you let him walk. He's not good enough.
Right. Yeah.
So it's hard for people to understand. Chris Grier's got strengths. The scouting staff's got strengths. But you go back, we've struggled with offensive line for a long time, but the scouting staff has been here for a long time. It's clear that there's something wrong, deadly wrong, with the construction of this offensive line and the philosophy on how to build it. I mean, we could have got Zach Tom, and like even a dummy like me, I was like, dude, this guy's in here. We brought him into the house to interview him. He's had the metrics that are off the charts over the last 30 years.
Zach Tom, yeah.
And even I'm like, dude, you got to draft this guy. And we went easy in Tyndall.
Dude, we could have had Creed Humphrey and at pick number 40, I believe, or what did we have that year? We did
that was the Eichenberg special.
Was it Eichenberg? Oh, that was the year Eichenberg came out. Eichenberg, oh gosh, could have Creed Humphrey, bro. And not only that, but look at, isn't Connor Williams playing in Seattle right now?
Oh yeah. He didn't want to
play. Like
because Chris
why didn't they play?
Because Chris Greer screwed him. He said, "We don't think you're worth it. We're going to let you play on your 1-year contract." His knee got blown out. You left him hanging in the wind. He said, "Screw you," because that's what he looked. He let Wilkins go, Van Ginkel go, Connor go, but then he puts money on Tehran, who's not here. He doesn't take care of his own people, but then he'll pay Jackson $12 million. That's crazy. People have a hard.
He does. Jackson makes $12 million. Austin Jackson.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, he makes $12 million a year. Oh, wow.
Yep. Ugh, and brutal. If you notice,
I agree. They should not have kept Wilkins. I'm sorry. I like him, but I can't pay him $26 million at 29 years old. I can't do it for a D-tackle.
Yeah, but you could have got him in 22 for $22 million or 23.
Right, a couple years ago. Yeah. Get ahead of the deal.
You paid 24 for Chubb and draft picks.
No, that's where he's made the biggest mistakes. We've not only given up our high capital.
Van Ginkel.
Yeah, Van Ginkel.
$8-9 million.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
or 20.
No, that's hard. No, those kind of decisions are horrible. Those kind of Connor Williams too. Like you gave Aaron Brewer what $7 million a year. You gave Aaron Brewer $7 million a year. You couldn't give Connor Williams a 2-year, $16 million deal and make him happy.
Yeah,
like even if he was injured.
Sure, as soon as
like
he got his
because
knee
he was
blown
injured,
out,
he didn't know.
Yeah, sure. But that's the thing. There's hubris. You have to remember hubris. No normal person's going to come to you and say, a GM came up to me and he was like, Eichenberg's out. Wow, that's terrible. He's playing so good for you. Fans are more concerned about the offensive line depth than we are. And then McDaniel comes out and says, this is the best I felt about the offensive line. That's either crazy, liars, or hubris blinding them. So there's something.
It's like we love everybody. The coach speak.
Oh, so listen. Look at the Jets last. Yeah, look at he looked like his old self. They invested every top.
No, Rodgers actually looked good last night. Yeah, he looked good last night.
Every top team. So Chris Greer, I give him credit. He's got balls to say, I see something different. Let me try a different vision. But it's everybody else went a different direction, and they're all the winners. And so, that's the thing. You have to come to the realization that Chris Greer is incompetent. He's incompetent. Who would get a quarterback with injury history and not protect him and run the football more to take him off we'll just throw faster. Like,
Bingo.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you guys know how I felt about paying him. I didn't want to pay him, but I'm not trying to I'm not the only person who thought that, but at the same time, I will say, if you're going to pay him, invest in the O-line and have a backup quarterback as an insurance plan, bro.
Oh, yeah.
How do you not do that? I don't understand. I mean, we didn't think it would happen 2 games in, but how do you not have a backup quarterback on the roster?
Okay, here. Fans keep saying, how do you not? And 1, how do you not 2? How do you not 3? How do you not 4? How do you not 5? It's called incompetence. It's called.
Dude, we signed Snoop Huntley in 1 second. It's like you couldn't have done this in the offseason, so he's like, we're prepared for when Tua goes out. Like now we got to get him. It's just a disaster. But now, actually, the early bye might help us this year.
Yeah.
If we can steal one of these next 2 games,
you just got to play it out and evaluate. Maybe they're smarter than. Hey, Steve, what's going on, brother? Thanks for the hangout the other night. It was good. You guys check out me and Steve the other night on his channel. It was good times.
I got to catch up on some videos, man.
That was a good video.
On some of your videos.
Good.
So, Cody, I'm sorry. Jason had some really, really good, real good points. Now it's your turn, brother.
Man, you guys kind of had a lot of things I was agreeing with. The biggest one is exactly how do you draft an injury history kid that just tore his hip out of his socket, and you're going to just throw. I mean, he's in Greer's defense. He thought he was throwing resources at the offensive line. He just kept missing on most of them, and the ones he hit are gone. But Omar, I'm going to give Omar something that stuck out to me. He said this when they first hired Mike. He said, I'm nervous there's not a gray beard on this staff. There's not somebody who's been a head coach, who's been in the trenches, who's been doing this for the last 40 years, who's seen it all, who's going to tell you, exactly what you need to know in some of those big situations. We had Bevel was the gray beard, and there's not a gray beard with the GMs apparently in the GM sessions whoever is in Chris's ear, there's got to be somebody.
He's got a really good guy. I can't remember his name from KC. I can't.
Yeah, he drafted Mahomes, right?
I can't believe it's as bad as it is with him.
Reggie McKenzie.
Yeah, McKenzie.
Oh, McKenzie. Yeah, McKenzie.
So I got to think there's got to be somebody who's gonna walk up to Stephen Ross and say, hey, I know something about football, and your offensive line sucks so bad it's ruining your entire team. Is somebody going to say that to him? Is there anybody?
Hold on, there's one other thing to focus on. So when my original thesis was the macro versus the micro. So you can say, well, he missed on this one, he missed on that one. But Chris Greer didn't even see the NFL cycle change. And like dummy me, I've called it. I called in 22 when I said that the interior offensive lineman and interior defensive lineman was rising with pass balance and is going to be, these guys' contracts are going to blow up if you don't sign them. And he missed the cycles, the offensive cycle change and then the personnel to fit those cycles. He kept getting receivers for fun ball. He was way past where the NFL was going, both on a personal, positional level and on a secular level within the philosophies of the game. And so the problem is that he's inept on the micro and the macro. And that's why he can't see things.
But you bring this up that he missed this cycle and that it's clear. I missed it too. I'm not that deep of a thinker, but I see it now. And I see exactly what happened to the Bills when they got rid of Ken Dorsey and let Brady start calling the plays. They started giving Cook the ball up the middle. They started being shortening everything, moving the ball to everybody, not just trying to get it to Diggs. Yeah, that offense is completely different right now. And the Chiefs, they're doing the exact same stuff. They got Pacheco. They're pounding up the middle. They got a good center.
It's been clear for a while, man. I mean, like I said, I missed it. It started probably a year and a half before I thought it started. But I'm not a pro. I'm not a pro. You know what I'm saying?
He's got to see it now, though.
Well, the thing with Greer is he loves shiny new objects. Like if you get if he sees somebody on the trade block like Bradley Chubb, again, why would you give up a first and a second round? And what was it, first, second, and fourth for Chubb, or was it just a first and a fourth?
My memory sucks.
But either way, you give up a first round, like a Tyreek Hill. That's a once in a lifetime trade. I get it. I get that. I can understand. He's a once in a lifetime player. Like he's just a unique transformative player.
No, I totally get that.
Bradley Chubb, you want to give up a first round pick for Bradley Chubb?
Yeah. And you got Phillips.
I like Chubb. I like Chubb, but come on, dude. Like that, you know what we could have did with that? I bet we can go back and pick 10 guys each that we would have rather had in that draft, that pick than Bradley Chubb.
You could have
5 guys each.
You could have kept Wilkins or Hunt and had 2 extra picks to invest. But he didn't
not
understand.
only that, but it's the
Chris
cap
Greer
money.
did not understand.
Double paying.
He doesn't understand football. He really doesn't. He views it as a philosophical thing with speed and X's and O's, but the brutality, the violence.
I don't even think he has a plan. I don't think he even had a plan for. I can get Tyreek Hill. Let's get him. Let's get Tyreek Hill. Oh, I can get Bradley Chubb. Let me get. And he's good at making deals. Like he can acquire draft picks if we're tanking, and he can go get players with those picks. But he there's no, like you said earlier, there's no vision, bro. There's no vision. Where do you want to see? Where do you see this team in 3 years? Where do you in 2020? If you would have asked Chris, I would have loved to know. If you see this team in 3 years, where do you see it, Chris Greer? And I mean, there was just so many questions in 2020. How can you have a clear vision for where the team's going to be in 2023? Because you like you said, drafted a quarterback injury.
Well, you can put it this way, Jason. Look at it this way. What's his favorite pieces? Receivers and edge play, and corners and edge plays. So he's seeing the league as stopping the pass because they're throwing the football.
Right.
You throw the football on offense and you stop the pass on defense, but you no longer need those assets. The key is to have balance on offense and to have enough on your interior DI spot that you can put your assets at high leverage and you don't need to invest as much. Look at the Bills. They have no safety group. It's like a ripped apart safety.
It's the scheme. It's the scheme. It's the coaching.
But he doesn't see
that's
that.
Where that comes.
He sees big play offense,
talent.
And vertical pass game, and rushing the passer because you're going to be ahead and they're going to be chasing you. He totally doesn't get where the game's going and where it is. He's misgiven at the highest and the micro level. I mean, look at his picks.
So then you got to follow the trail.
Well, let me ask just me as a Jose. Ace, do you believe having Hill is why Greer has been reluctant to draft a wide receiver early? So far, we passed on Rasheed Rice and Brian Thomas for Cam Smith and Chop. Well, he doesn't even like to draft guys to give competition to Eichenberg and Jackson. He's lost. To me, he's lost. He's totally lost. So
that year we took Waddle first was a miracle. Like that was because we were so desperate for a receiver. That's the only reason. And we got extra capital. That's the only reason we took Waddle in the first round, because Chris Greer would not have taken him that year. I'm telling you, if we didn't get another first round pick out of that.
Yuki, my man, you suffered with me on the game. my kindred sufferer.
Yeah, he just trades too much, and he doesn't realize, like, draft and develop, and keep, and you have to have an eye for the talent that you have. And okay, you cut bait with the players that are not, and he like seems to pay the guys that are always injured because he can get them at a discount.
Well, and he laughed. He says, "Well, injury is part of the game. I don't really care about that." Like, how much more evidence do you need that he's incompetent? And if he's that incompetent, then you can understand why the offensive line is so bad.
How do we evaluate Mike?
How
do we evaluate Tua? How do we evaluate the other pieces we have?
They're screwed. I want to do a quick plug. Scott and I have spent about 3 months building a new data set, and I think it's really, 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 really good. And I'm not saying just because of me. It's going to be called Adjusted Passer Framework Rating. And it takes into account play calls, pass mitigation play calls, amount of blockers being used, blitzing, real pressure, because you can take the quarterback-driven pressure out, how many receivers en route to how many defenders, and it will show the pre-throw framework. So you can understand the leverage that the whole framework is giving or taking away from the quarterback. And we've done some stuff, and it looks very accurate, and it will help define what the framework from the OC to the surrounding, not just the offensive line, but the offensive line, and why I say it makes the NFL world go around, is because their ability to block from five-man true pass set protection and beyond alters everything. And the OC then operates in reflection to that. And so you're going to see, once we get this thing done, I'm supposed to have it done tomorrow, the podcast, I'm going to have it done on Monday. You're going to see how bad our framework is. And because it takes into account the coach, his calls. I mean, the amount of receivers you have in coverage going into face defenders in coverage and how many they're going against totally sets the table for the quarterback. And so McDaniel is screwed because he was a run game coordinator who sat in a booth, and we couldn't find him. He wasn't our plan A option. He was like our last. I mean, I'm talking about wanting Peyton and Brady. I'm talking after those guys. Then we had another set of guys, and some guys didn't want to come here. We couldn't get those guys.
Right.
He's at the bottom of the list. And then you come in and say, hey, come in. I'm trading for Hill. You got to win now. And I'm not giving you an offensive line.
Bingo.
We got McDaniel and then Hill came available, I think. But today it's like, it's you get these young coaches that are, I like McDaniel. He's going to go through ups and downs, but I'm a fan of McDaniel. But at the same time, I think that he gets it now. He's getting a little too, I don't know if it's arrogance or if he's trying to get trying so hard for the team to show the team that he believes in him, because you can't go for it. I don't mind going for it. Like, everyone wants to knock that fourth down one last week. I don't mind that. Down 10 points. You got 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes till the half, and then Buffalo gets ball after half. I don't want to give Josh Allen the ball 2 more times before we get the ball back, but that's me.
Well,
the first game and in week 1, he goes for it on the first drive of the year, bro. The first possession of the year. Why are you going for that? Give your defense a chance to make, you know what I'm saying? Like, pin him back.
I think he knows how screwed he is. I think he's desperate for points. I think he's reaching. I think he understands. He understands more than anybody. He's watching film, lapping. He knows, like, holy crap, I got to score. It's like, I got to take advantage of everything. Like, but my problem would be with him.
That's what he has to learn. He has to learn.
But I think he knows that if he doesn't take every single opportunity, that he knows he's going to fall behind. I think he knows how limited. He'll tell you, he'll sell job you, and he'll word salad you on these things. But ultimately, I think he knows how screwed he is. Do
you guys think that? Oh, go ahead. No, I was going to ask you guys.
Remember, it's his own fault, because remember, he came here. He said, "Well, why'd you take jobs?" He's like, you never know if you're going to get asked again. That's a lot of money. And he came here on the plane. He's like, "I'm going to fix Tua. Tua's your man." And he kept saying over and over, "I fixed Tua. I believed in him." And so to me, that's the negative for him. because
Right. Yeah.
he started
a little. Yeah.
creating that. I love to. I built to. I'm the brilliant.
Right.
They call me. Maybe he said that they call me genius and stuff like that. I don't know whether he was just selling, like a snake oil salesman, or he believed it. I don't know, but he really did,
Yeah.
and I think he's screwed.
Yeah.
No,
Well, they just gave him an extension too.
Yeah.
They just gave him an extension.
Yep.
No, I was going to ask you guys though. Let me ask you this: if you're going for it like as often, and like let's say even the first drive of the year, right? Defenses, everybody's pumped up. It's game one, right? Offense gets the ball and they stall out at the 43, and there's fourth and 5 when we went for it and we didn't get it, and Jacksonville got the ball. It's like if you're after maybe the first time, but after a while, like, don't you think that it has to affect the defense? It has to affect this, specialty. It affects the other phases of the game. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that you run the risk of, unless they're all on the same page. That's what we don't know is how close everybody is. We don't know that because we're not in the building, but at the same time, I feel like you just run the risk of you're always putting the defense in the tough spot. You're always, giving Jason Sanders a 50-something yard field goal or whatever. It's just always, all because the offense is, all because the offense wants to go for it. You got a coach that can't.
Yeah, I totally agree on everything. He's not patient, and he's nervous for some reason, whether it's his nature or he understands the situation. It's stupid. Honestly, let me just do this one.
Right. I agree.
Do you anticipate any changes? Well, they're going to have to. If you look, I did this in my podcast this morning about the matchups. Tua pass rush mitigation 45%. Skyler, he dropped it to 25%. Blitz percentage 10.3 for Tua, 6.3 for Skyler. Pressure 24 for Tua, 31 for Skyler. Clean time to throw went up from 1.87 for Tua to 2.75. Same depth of target. So he's going to hold the ball more. He's not going to be able to deliver on target with the anticipation, with the release. And so he's going to hold the ball more. And this defense is way more ferocious. Now, the injuries, we don't know what the injuries are. Some guys could probably play. I don't know how long they'll last and this and that. But if you look, when I get into the film, I'll talk about it. But the Bills' defense is really wounded. And so he's going to have to come in with both Jones and Tehran with bad shoulders against on the road with heavy noise against a defense that's better.
That's true.
So you're going to have to play patience. But the problem is they have a very potent offense and they can run inside. And so that's going to –
their O-line's not playing that good right now.
No, but
their O-line's not playing that good right now.
It's not good, but you got Connor inside, and they've got a big enough guys to run inside. And I can't remember the kid's name. He's a tough inside runner. I forgot what year.
Like Charbonnet.
Oh, we're getting Walker's out.
Yeah, because you got to remember. If you look at Benito Jones, he's playing terrible. Peely's okay. Campbell inside is getting moved around a lot. Phillips is not himself. He's not 100%. Chop can't really stop the run. So we're really exposed to the run game, and they're going to be patient enough. They play patience. They ran 33 times the first game, only 19 the next.
Right. Yeah.
But the Patriots have a good defensive front, and they work in the edges and stuff like that. But they can.
Well, if the Patriots or the Broncos had a better offense, they would be 0-2 right now. But that's the thing, because Denver had got 2 safeties that game. I watched that game. Denver got 2 safeties, and they had them pinned. They played the field position game smart. They were really in the game. I think they were winning at halftime, if I'm not mistaken. But they have to. They have to. I think the pass rush. If we can get the Geno Smith early, stop the run and get the Geno early, he can get rattled. I've seen him play for over a decade. Geno Smith, if you get to him early, he'll start throwing some balls.
They're sloppy. They were sloppy in both those games.
They have a lot of weapons, though. At all the spots, really. Kenneth Walker's out, but they have a good tight end. They have multiple receivers, and they run the ball. So you just kind of have to guard the whole field with those guys. And When Geno gets hot, he's.
I think both teams are going to try to ruin it.
And they can throw the deep ball.
Yes, he is. You're
ball, man. Yeah. So
you see, if you notice this,
and he's mobile.
Reason
did
did mention that the Dolphins had scouts at LSU game last week. Maybe we can help. Oh, I'm sure they're going to draft offensive line. But the problem is, this guy shouldn't even have a job, and so it's going to extend this thing out. You're already hopelessly behind. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with Tua who's going to have health issues, and you're dealing with cap issues. You're dealing with players getting older. And so my thing is that McDaniel, if they go 5 wins, what they're going to say is, this is our year. We got it. We got the high picks. We got all these picks. We're going to invest. It's another, I mean, maybe it works out, but who in the NFL would still have a job at this stage? And just,
I think Greer's more on the hot seat than McDaniel. I think Greer could if it goes south real quick. I don't know.
They're going to be here for at least 2 more years.
You think Ross is going to let him choose another? Like, let's say, because another thing we'll talk about whenever I wanted to let you do your thing. So, but at the end I was going to talk about, because I heard with Kyle Krabs, and I read an article where Tua. They can get out of his deal. I mean, they're still going to eat $50 million plus whatever they already paid him. But if they don't get out of that deal, if they don't release him by March 14th of next year, then they guarantee 2026's salary, which is another $54 million. So I don't think the team's going to do that. I personally don't think they should, and I don't even think it's smart business at this point to do that. Not anything personal, but just you can't guarantee another $54 million when you're already going to have to pay 50 no matter what. So I just don't see the team, because that'll set us back 4 years as opposed to 2. We'll have 2 years to pay 50 million. That's going to be manageable. It'll be 20. It's still going to be a lot.
Well, okay, so think of it this way. Let's think of it. Okay, so let's follow this through logically. So Chris Greer, who put this whole thing together, he's going to cut Tua, and he's going to be the guy to rerun this thing out. So you're going to rerun this thing out. You're going to have to get a new quarterback.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
No, but then you got to get a new quarterback, and it's going to take you 2 or 3 years for him to be reasonably good. And that by then, Ramsey's going to be too old. I mean, who else? You're going to have to repeat. Tehran's going to be out, but you can't get rid of him until after June 1st. Poyer's going to be gone. You have to get another guy over there. You're going to pay Holland. You're going to pay Phillips. Where's that money coming from? Who else do you got? I mean,
that class is going to cost money. Yeah. And that's why I think they should get a new GM.
By then,
the
too.
GM comes in and cleans up.
So how long does Chris Greer got? Is he literally untouchable?
I think this could be the year, bro. I really do. If it goes south, if we win 5 games, I think he's gone. I personally, I think McDaniel could stay, and I'll be up to the new GM. But I think if we win 5 games this year, I don't see Chris Greer, because they know they have to move on from Tua. I think at this point they know it. Contract-wise, because that's their only off-ramp. That's their only off-ramp for the contract. They can't get out of it again.
Here's the thing.
So this is it.
Remember, we couldn't even. No one would work with us, and we had to hire Dennis Hickey for 1 year because no one would work with us, and no coach. So who's going to come in to replace them? I think the problem is.
I don't know all that. All I know is I'm just saying. I mean, are you going to choose Chris? Are you going to let Chris Greer do another rebuild? I don't see that happen. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to allow that. I don't know.
But
we'll see. If we win 5 games, that's the premise. If we win 5 games, I can't see Greer surviving. I would be shocked if he survives that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would be shocked if he survives that. But who knows? Who knows with Ross, like you said.
Just for me, it's like,
who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I just think that you're not going to get any substantial changes until Greer's gone. I'm not saying that the next guy is going to be the guy. Yuki, it's about business. I think Ross was about winning, and then at a certain point he said, "Screw it, just let's make money."
Yeah.
He's a lifetimer. Yeah, he's got a lifetime contract.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't let me talk football to her much because she's put up with it for 17 years. So I can only say short sentences to her about it. But so I have to be really concise, And I told her that I realized, it finally hit me, that unless we do something drastic and we change guys in really key positions, we're just going to keep getting more of the same. And there's too much evidence now to show what Greer wants to do. There's evidence now that Mike's going along with it, or doesn't have a say. Either way, he's not changing it. And Greer has to either admit he's wrong and do a 180 or 360, whatever, I don't know. And then Ross has got to be like, okay, cool, you made some mistakes, I'm still going to stick with you. Go ahead and rebuild this thing. That's like our only shot, and it doesn't sound feasible. And I'm at a point where we have so many good pieces to be like, well, it's just not going to work anyway. We got to move on. It's insane. And it's all even come down to Greer and the line he's put out and the way he's running the team right now. And nobody's stopping him. You know,
but it's a philosophy. It's a philosophy. You know, you got to have that mentality that we're going to be a smash mouth, whether you want to call it smash mouth, hard nose. You know, it's just the mentality, man. Yeah, balance. Well, I mean, either, but you still have to like draft. You have to prioritize O linemen. In my opinion, if you don't prioritize the trenches, how can you be a physical football team? How can you be, you know, if you're not investing in, and I'm not just saying money, but draft picks. You know, just coaching, everything. If you're not investing in our, you know, if you're investing in corners all the time, and how many corners have we gone through? And we give these guys big contracts, and we overpaid Xavier Howard, we overpaid Byron Jones, we overpaid. Now we got Jalen Ramsey again, and it's just we just paid Jalen Ramsey and he's not overpaid, but he's 30 years old. You're gonna pay him a new. You know, either way, but it's like they just keep giving money to these positions, and it's like corner for some reason is like this love fest with cornerback. I really don't understand it, but you know,
flash and no substance. That's the Dolphins. Flash and no substance.
Yeah,
sad.
And it's a bright flash. That's the problem.
Yeah,
it's really bright flash.
All we need is a little coherency on the offensive line, and maybe a little shift here or there, and we could have, if you had Wilkins instead of Chubb, and you could have somehow found a way to keep Hunt and just picked up Zach Tom or Creed Humphreys, even Morgus Moses from a couple of years ago for $4 million.
Yeah,
you know, it's about 5 or 6 moves that could have flipped things the other way. But you know, there's a lot of bad moves outside that. But even still, we had unprecedented capital to get here. We're not going to get it again, and so you're going to get way diminishing returns. You know,
so much draft capital. God, in my opinion, they just wasted it when they for Chubb and I mean, we had Larry Tunsil, and Tunsil, you know, you could argue if it was worth it or not, but he was a great pick. That was our last good old lineman that we took in the draft, you know, like at the top pick. Like Larry Tunsil still playing for Houston, man.
It was weird.
I'm sorry, Cody, go. I'm sorry, go.
No, it was weird having him because you knew that Greer hit the second he drafted it. There wasn't any, let's see how this kid pans out. Like, Tunsil was a stud, and the only reason he fell, we know why. The bong gas mask.
Oh, yeah.
His lap. I can't evaluate O-line that well, but I watch every year. I listen to specific people.
Oh, yeah, he was
break
good.
Down the old lineman, and it's like, this guy looks great. This guy's a stud. He can play guard next year if you want. Like, this guy is a stud. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think a Tunsil trade was good. For a real GM would have been able to manipulate that. We should have done where we took the picks and traded back, got more ammo, found guys in the second and third round. But at some point, he started reaching. I think in 2020, he started reaching. And I think Ross already got impatient. And then he started trading up and using just extra ammo all the time. It's like everything, all right, that's a 6, a 7, a 5th. Here you go. And like, I mean, he was just like a drunk sailor at a certain point, you know?
Did Ross say we're win now? Like that's
Ross forced 2 in. Somebody either Ross or Greer forced 2 in 2020, and that altered the course of the franchise and its team construction.
Yeah. Well, and the last 3 years we've had the least amount of draft picks in NFL history. The last 3 years, so we went from having all that draft capital in 2019, 2020, 2021 to having the least amount from 22 to 24. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
But it is a good point, and Dad. You see, if you look
at
at the current offense, Saints offense is what the Dolphins will. Yeah, if they had, yes, agree. Better.
I do agree with
hard.
with Dave too that we got to get Jalen right. Like, why? That's another thing. McDaniel's holding on to Mostert, holding on to Wilson. Come on, dude. What are you holding on to Jeff Wilson for? I like Jeff Wilson, bro, but he does not need to be on our football team as a starter over Chris Brooks, even as a depth player over Chris Brooks. He didn't need to be here over anybody. I just don't understand like this. Dude, this guy's like, it's his buddies. Like, that's the one thing. Again, there's a lot of things to knock McDaniel about other than, the play calling, man. I just don't understand it. I really don't understand it, dude. Why is Jeff Wilson on this football team? I really don't understand that.
Yeah, well, it's incompetence.
Oh, shit, I get it.
It's an incoherence, lack of vision. And unfortunately, also Ross also interferes and tells them they have to win. Remember, they raised ticket prices, I think it was last year, by 30%. So Ross is also an interferer. That's why no one wants to work here with him. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's the whole soup. And it's also a media that unfortunately just sells the hype. Barry I trust. Yeah. Which Barry I trust? Sorry, Austin. Like the memes, but Dolphin fans have to be more savvy, and that's the problem. They're not. They want to believe, and I know I want to. I'm desperate since 1978. Yeah. But if we don't stand firm and say, hey, look, we're savvy consumers, then they're going to sell you poop wrapped up in a burrito and say it's it's Chipotle.
Yeah.
So Cody, do you want to say anything? Because I just want to do this film quick. Not quick, but
now let's check out your film and see why our guys can't complete the pass, because we got everybody in coverage and they know it's coming.
All right, here we go. Okay, so let's just open it up here and understand they have a totally gutted safety group, all new guys. I mean, Rapp was there last year, but he's not that good. So this is not like a high-end talent. They're missing Johnson. Milano's out. Benford, top of the screen over here. 42 or 47, whatever his number is. He's good cornerback, but slow. But look how they.
Rasul Douglas, isn't he on that?
Yeah, he's good.
I like him.
They have one good corner right now. So, but look what you're seeing here. Yeah, they immediately started 5 yards, and this is what you got: play the pass. So, look at all the guys in the box over here. You're going to see all of them in a box, and look at all these guys in coverage. 3 guys in routes. Mm-hmm. Everybody's playing over leverage. You got doubles everywhere.
Good pocket.
Yeah. Well, no.
Good pocket. Oh.
Yeah, but you know how quick that is? It's less than 2 seconds. This is less than 2 seconds. And so,
but see, that's what here's another thing. That's what I'm saying. Whether he has time or not, the ball's out. So, like, we could say the O-line doesn't block, but at the same time, the ball's out, whether he has blocking or not. So it's hard to really gauge how much they're blocking. So
well, you gotta think of it,
not all the time. But.
No, but you got to think of it this way, Jason. So PFF does true pass set blocking, which means anything over 2 seconds, anything under 2 seconds doesn't even count because it's almost impossible. You could be really terrible and block for that long. So when you have 75% of your throws at 1.87 seconds, I could put like dead bodies there and almost get the same protection. So it's more like saying they had the easiest job. And
right, but how many of those are protection? How many of those are due to protection? How much of those are just due to the design of the play being gone in 2 seconds?
But they design
the design of the play.
But they design it to protect because they can't protect long enough. And you'll see through the course of the game. Look at right now. He's already got a guy. You're less than but you're less than 2 seconds, and he's got to get rid of the ball because the guy's getting driven back.
There's no second read opportunity.
He can't.
There's no read opportunity.
They're only rushing 4 guys, and you're getting already this. It was just 2 seconds. This is not optimal. You'd want a cleaner pocket.
That's a clean pocket in the NFL. You're not going to get a cleaner pocket than that. That's a good pocket right there.
For under 2 seconds, though. So if I threw the ball in 1 second, you could say it was a clean pocket. But can you say it at 2.2, 2.3, 2.4? The rest of the league blocks at 2.4 seconds, 2.3 seconds.
Right.
Play it.
I just don't know. But my point is that a lot of our plays are out. You know what I mean? A lot of our plays are very quick like that.
Right.
A lot of them. So I don't know how you can say that they're unable to block when they don't have to block. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I'm saying. I'm not saying they're not right. I'm not saying they're not right.
Yeah, but you can't so if you're a quarterback, quick throws are not your friend. You want the clock to rise to a certain point so your receivers can get depth and get separation. When you throw short, it helps you.
Right.
So, but the problem is we're constricted because we can't let the clock rise. We must throw quick.
Right.
And so
that's my knock on the whole. That's my knock on Tua in general is that the ball's always coming out so fast. You say it O-line, I say it's a little bit of both, but I'm not letting the O-line slide because they're not good. But
the thing here too is notice.
Just the whole line.
Look, right now you got 3 receivers against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. That's not conducive. So we'll keep going. We'll let the whole play out. So he has to get rid of it now.
Right
He's got to get it out early. Now watch the linebackers. This is the first play of the game. Look
First play.
They're playing at 5-yard depth. When you have 5-yard depth, it allows you to shoot to the edges to stop outside runs and screens, and it allows you to drop into coverage. So they're set, and they're not even budging from the defense that is our Achilles heel. Watch them. And they got a nickel. And we got a tight end there. We got a running back. First play of the game. Look at all the space in between the A and B gap. Look how wide those edge players are outside the tackles. 5 technique. Look at all that.
No fear. No fear in the middle.
0.
Watch
Watch their reaction. Read and react and drop. Boom. And look, 92 is already beaten. You see it? 92 is already beaten his guy. So if you held it to 2.2, 2.3, then he's on the move off his spot. So now you come back. So now this will be a run play. But look at their depth. And look what you got here. You got Ingold over here, so it's an easy read. You know it's a run play. You know it's going to be a run play. You got a tight end in motion. Do they even bite up at all?
Are those 3 linebackers, or do they have 3?
There's a safety. Yes, 2 linebackers and a safety. So you do the inside run here, and look down here. You see Brewer on the ground. All right, so you're going to get this play off, but almost attack it right there. And then watch it from the inside.
But that's a good game. That's a good game. Yeah, that's a good game on first down, though. That's a good game.
It's absolutely a good game. But what's your consistency?
Could have been bigger.
What's your consistency level? How can you do you think that this is going to cause them to be afraid and change their philosophy and their macro view? Watch Brewer get tossed. And it happens, but it happens a lot. And so you'll say, hey, look, Eichenberg had a great block. He's blocking a guy he's almost 100 pounds bigger than.
Yeah.
Which is, okay, that's nice.
All right. Actually, Eichenberg, arguably, has been our best O-lineman so far.
So now this will show the philosophical understanding. So you're in 3rd and 1 on the first drive of the game. You just had a big run.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think you're going to play some kind of run defense, a run blitz? You're going to bring your linebackers up into less than 5 yards leverage? Nope. They said, screw it. And you know what? Watch how we respond. We get the first.
They're cheating up, though. See, they're cheating up. They're cheating up at the last. Look, they're biting.
Well, because they
came up. They had.
But they're
cheating. That could be film study. Yeah.
You're at what's it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yards. These linebackers should be at 3 yards. At least 2 of them should be at 3 yards. You've got a nickel against a big. You got a tight end and a fullback. And you're in a nickel, and you're playing 5-yard leverage on a 3rd and 1.
Bills always play nickel. That's their base defense.
Yeah, but
that's their base defense, though, is nickel. You know that, right?
Yeah, but
no. The Bills' base defense is nickel. That's their base defense.
Oh yeah, nickel, but every week you'll see that against the Seattle this week.
They do it every week. You'll see.
So
you'll see. Yeah, the Bills do that every week.
So you'll get the first down barely, and watch again. Remember the first play I said it almost didn't happen. So watch what they do. Watch here. Watch Brewer. So you look at this, all the space on a 3rd and 1. That's unconscionable unless you don't care. And watch Oliver beat Brewer and almost get the play behind it. Does nothing to change them philosophically. They slide. They know what the deal is. They read and react, and then they shoot. And then watch Brewer get dumped. And he almost makes the tackle.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not.
Who's 92? Allen?
Oliver is a small guy. He's not even a good run stopper.
No, he's 91. He's 91. No, that's 91 is Oliver.
Is that Daquan? Is that Daquan? I thought Oliver was 91. Oh, 92.
Maybe, yeah, it might be Daquan.
Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me check. You might be right.
He does have some size on Brewer. He's a lot bigger than Brewer.
Who's Daquan?
He's bigger than Brewer. 92.
Daquan is 92 at 320.
Okay. Oh yeah. So he's a big dude.
But again,
he's a nose tackle.
But again,
yeah, need a bigger guy.
So, but you if you go back and you watch Connor, he could handle that more often than not. So you don't change.
I agree.
You're not changing the philosophy. And so what are they? They're right back in the same defense. But you'll see this defense. Jaguars were playing this same defense for the most part. A little bit of movement, a little bit coming up because they have different talent levels, kind of smaller front. But you'll see the same thing every week. This is what Kansas City played, except on certain downs they would come up and blitz. Same thing. Every week, the same thing. So again, now it's a new set of downs, first down.
They're all moving towards
no movement. There's read and react.
No wait.
And they're going to flow to the edge. You pitch outside. And everybody's flowing. And you'll see the edges. You see Eichenberg, he's pushed back behind the line of scrimmage, dragging it out, and look at how little space there is. They get a shoot inside. I think it's Hill misses the block.
No.
But even if he doesn't miss that, he doesn't make that tackle. But let
me ask you this. Is that fair to your O lineman to ask him to block out, like to stand up and get a block from a defender that's already got momentum running that way? To me, that's not setting them up for success. Like you have to, this is gimmicky type runs.
Yeah, it is.
This is not like really running the football.
No,
yeah.
How's
the O-line supposed to succeed in run blocking when he's standing up? Like you can't, in my opinion, that's not, he automatically loses his leverage. Yeah, he loses his leverage when he has to stand up. I'm sorry, like when he has to stand up and the defender's already running at him, like Eichenberg loses his leverage off the bat on the end like that. Yeah, they have to move. They have to continually move. You should not be standing up to block like that ever. That's terrible.
So even
you have to move.
Even if he doesn't, the whole edge. Look, it was to the short side, and it would have been capped off anyway. So Jackson has a nice block downfield, but you see right here, he can't control him. You see, like right there, that's 91. That's Oliver. So Oliver is 20 pounds lighter. He stabs him in the chest. He's supposed to be able to make that block and string it out and get leverage, but he can't. And then the tight end misses the block. And then Brewer's over here. You can see Brewer down here in the middle. He got to the spot, but he still didn't seal it. So he can get to the spot, and then the whole thing's sealed because of because of the leverage, by being at 5-yard depth.
So right, and I was going to say that too. You see how far back? You see how far? Like the play starts 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah. You're not going to.
But watch the linebackers. Watch the linebackers here because of their depth. If they're at 3 yards, then this wall, this clog of people, blocks them from the edge. But because they have no fear of the inside run, they play at 5-yard depth. They focus the edges in the pass. So when you break the nickel and you run inside, it forces them to cheat on their leverage and their depth and take one step forward.
Right. And they're also taught, though, remember, they're taught to react to certain, remember, they watched film on the Dolphins the whole week.
Yeah.
So they probably see which way Tua, they're reacting to which way Tua turns his body or to which way the hips turn for HN or for the guy that's coming in motion. Like you are taught to do defensive coaches are good these days. I'm telling you, they teach them
of course,
look at the hips.
But that's why
he faked it.
Yes, 100%.
Sorry, go ahead.
They read the cues, they read the keys. But the problem is the initial start point starts from what they're concerned with. If you're in solid inside run team, they play at 3.5. And that 1.5 yard difference creates a clog from the flow to the left and the right. It alters things. And so, yeah, I totally agree on all that stuff, but it starts with they have zero fear of our blockers and our inside run game.
And so leaking out and running. Then
nothing. But that's why they play their DNs, their edge players in that 5 technique, sometimes almost 6 technique. And they leave those DTs inside in a nickel look because you don't do that consistently against a team that has good blockers and you fear the inside run game. So now
I want to also bring one little thing up real quick. Now, let's just say that Achane happens to cut this back, right? Let's just say for giggles here, or for a what if, let's say Achane cuts this back. Look at Tyreek Hill getting, like, he's the one that's supposed to hold. That's another thing. We don't have receivers that are big enough to block downfield. Let's say Achane does break it. You know what I mean? Look at that. Like, he's not going anywhere anyway.
Congruent build from our offensive line to the entire offense. It's incongruent build. It's somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing.
It's for speed. That's what it is. It's for speed. It's not for.
But the NFL is not that. Anymore. It's never really been that, but it's not that now. So now this is what defenses do. They play high leverage nickels. They let you make your mistake, your first negative play. Now you're in second and long. And so now you've got to throw. And you can't block long enough to really take advantage of anything because they're only if you could get these guys in 2-4, 2-5, they have to bring the blitz, and then that would soften the secondary, but they don't. So look at this drops. Look, he's already dropping. They know what's going on. They know what time it is. So you pitch, they flow to the outside, and watch. So now you got underneath, which cuts off.
No, good pocket. Let's good pocket. It's a good pocket.
Yeah, but
it's a very good pocket.
Yeah, you're at a clean pocket. Yeah, but you're at a second. You better have a clean pocket in a second. So now you better have a clean pocket.
Yeah, but dude, I'm sorry, but this is the NFL. You only get. I'm sorry, dude. You're not 3-4 seconds of the NFL. No, you're just not doing it.
No,
you have 3 seconds to throw max.
No, how long
in the NFL? 3 seconds max.
Yeah, but
3 seconds. Bro. 3 seconds. I mean, now you get. I'm not saying it's impossible. But
no, every 10th
to get longer, but 3 seconds. Dude.
Yeah, every 10th of a second is a big piece of time.
Yeah.
The average throw time is 2.3 to 2.4, 2.2 clean. Most teams are not throwing 2.1 clean time. It's 2.3, 2.3.
I'm just saying, even there's no pressure here. That is a perfect pocket. There's
where you going? You have your pocket post that they know you're doing underneath coverage. You can't throw there. You have a guy playing high leverage.
No, it's covered. No, it's good coverage. You're right. It's good coverage. I'm not saying the coverage is bad. It's good coverage, but that's a good pocket. Is all I'm saying. He's not under any pressure here to make a throw. Yeah.
How many guys did you keep in behind the line of scrimmage in the box to attain that?
Josh Allen runs on that play. If that's Josh,
I'm not saying anything other than the play. Yeah.
But
my point is, it's not. Yeah, it's not. My point is, that's a well block. Like we've seen 2 pass blocking good block so far too. I know it gets worse, but
so watch what you have to do to get that good protection with 4 guys rushing.
Look, and he does a 3-4 step drop. I mean,
so look, this is what you have to do. You keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 guys to block 4 and 1 guy in the backfield to try to draw somebody. 7 against 4. So that's pass rush mitigation. You better have a good clean pocket with a double, and 2 singles. No, it's a triple. It's a triple over here. 7 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 against 4. And 1 guy totally useless over here. So you better have a clean pocket. You're supposed to block with 5, 5.5, chip and go at a tight end. So you can't go anywhere because you can only put 2 guys in routes because you got to max protect. Because you don't trust your protection.
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like the design of the routes on that play because I feel like when you have those are like when you get good protection like that and you have speed, and that was a play where Hill and Waddle were both on the field. So I don't understand why you're just trying to take a deep shot in the double coverage on that. To me, that's where they need to tighten up the design of the play, because if you're going to go max protect, you better get a chunk gain, and it doesn't have to just be a throw up deep ball. You know what I mean? Do something creative. Get Waddle on a double move. I mean, do something, or you know what I'm saying, to get a nice 15, 20-yard chunk gain instead of just going for a deep ball right there and just wasting a down. To me, that's a wasted down with good protection.
Let everything else develop.
That's my opinion.
He's not used to being able to let everything else develop, even with max protection. So it's in his mind, he's thinking, I'm going to anticipate this throw. I got Hill. He's too fast. I'm going to make this shot. Not even thinking about.
Yeah, I feel like it was already premeditated that was what the play. That was the play. Right. Well, that's where I think this offense is missing. I just think that it's missing just some free, ad-libbing, man. Like some, you got to make plays, dude. You can't just the structure of the play and that's it. You have to ad-lib, bro. That's what today's NFL is about. And the rules, you have to be able to do outside of the structure of the play. I'm sorry to interrupt, bro. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I understand what you're saying, but you have to remember that when you're getting a blitz rate of 13% and your pass rush mitigation calls of 55%, that's that's beyond rational. That's insane. I mean, that's not normal. You call screens and play actions to slow pass rush. But if you're not getting blitzed, that doesn't make any sense. And so the problem is when you put, so like they had one guy, they had Hill with the man, a guy over the top, two guys on the, is very limited stuff you can do when you're in that mode. I'm sure they could have done maybe a comeback or an out or something. Yeah, I'm sure maybe there could have been a better route combination.
A route combination.
But on a consistent basis, we run play actions at such a high level because we can't block. And so Tua couldn't do anything. Once they get us off schedule, it's very difficult. I don't care who you are and what route combination you have. If you're putting two guys in routes against 7, it's very, very difficult.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. So now here you come back. So people want to knock Tua. This is one of the best. This is an amazing throw. Okay, so watch this. This play is 2.07 seconds, and he's going to get pressure. Okay. So, but watch it from Eichenberg. So right there, 2.7 seconds. And so watch him put it on his guy's shoulder and he misses it. That is look at the pocket he's throwing into. That was great anticipation and delivery inside look at this filled hole. And he bounces off the shoulder. But you have to remember, why does Tua, I'm not saying he's the greatest quarterback.
It's a tad bit behind him.
But watch why.
But that was a good throw.
Watch Eichenberg.
It's a good throw.
Watch Eichenberg.
Very good throw.
Watch Eichenberg. And watch his back foot have to shift. So you got, you got 1, 2, you got your 5. You got your 5, 2.70 seconds. You got a little chip at the end to help Jackson. And so now he's got look at the hand. If he plants and drives, there's going to be interference.
But see, that's where I think Tua needs to step up into the pocket. Step up, drifting back too much. He's got to step up because the pocket, even though Eichenberg shouldn't get beat there, I do think that in general, like normally the edges are going to come around the tackles. Remember, a lot of times they'll bend and come out up and under the right and left tackle. Right. This time, if Tua just steps up, he avoids the right guard going, like the D lineman going around the right guard, as opposed to.
But remember, they're rhythm.
We
have rhythm throws. So if he has to check his pass and take the step, now you're off rhythm, and we're rhythm throwing team.
Right. It's all about timing.
And so everything has has a pro and con. So look, I don't think Tua is the greatest guy ever. Yeah. But if you had the offensive lines this guy's had, look, we've seen great quarterbacks. Archie Manning never make it. Look at Burrow. He stands tall. Look at the beatings. You set the psychology of your quarterback by the protection. And so I'm not saying he could have been great.
Oh, yeah.
But you constantly restrict routes, by pass rush mitigation calls, and you constantly have a bad offensive line. You can't run balanced, except if it's run to the edge and these pop flashy things. So you haven't set this guy up. And if a DC comes into a game and says, I'm playing high leverage and I'm playing nickel and I'm playing pass, then he's taking the initiative and the offense has to react to him. The offense has to have the initiative. The offense has to dictate. And if you can't get the defense reacting and they're acting and you're reacting to them, you're screwed. The number one asset for an offense is initiative and having the defense play defense, which is reaction. But we are reacting to their action.
Let me ask you this. Why do we have a fullback on our team if we're not going to run the ball? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like another thing is we don't use Ingold the right way. Like, dude, we have a football. We paid him. We paid him too a couple years ago or last year. It's like we have a fullback on our roster, which not many teams do. We have a fullback, and not only that, we actually have three. We just a third round pick. We wasted not wasted. We spent a third round last year, third round this year, and we still have Raheem Mostert on the team, and we actually have Jeff Wilson. This team should be. We can run up the middle. We can. It just has to be.
No, we can't. This is my opinion. No, my eval is we can't. You don't. So if you
right, I'm not. You may be right, but when have we tried to line up an I formation and not a fullback dive? But I mean, like, use all three running backs. Give them a change of pace. Like, don't use Achane up the middle. Use them on the sweeps. Use Mostert and use this new guy right. Maybe not the first 2 weeks, but I mean,
look, this is just my eval, Sean. Don't take it for gospel. But if you're going to run I form up the middle, you've got to run inside zone. Okay, and so if you're running inside zone, you need some drive blocking. Jackson cannot drive block. He cannot. He struggles. Eichenberg cannot move anybody. He struggles. Brewer cannot move anybody. He struggles. The whole 3/5 of your offensive line can't do it. Jones can.
I've seen us run the ball, bro. I mean, I've seen us do it. I'm not saying we could do it against the Bills or do it against because those teams have really good D lines, but there has to be games where you're not just doing the same thing over. That has to be I thought that was going to be the evolution of our offense this year, like and even last year at times. I thought later on when we had more injuries, or I thought the team would slow it down, slow the pace down.
It's not just the consistency is not there. The consistency is not there.
No, absolutely.
But it's because you remember. Look, absolutely. This is just my eval. But if you're going to eval an offensive lineman, you have to first say they cannot handle power. If they can't handle power, that's a huge strike against them. And there's certainly no way you can have an offensive line with three guys who can't handle power at any level. At any level. I mean, Brewer can't at any level. Eichenberg can't at any level. And if Wynn was here, he can't at any level. Jackson can barely sometimes if he outmatches the guy or if he's got leverage, but not straight drive. So you can't. You might get a run here or there, but there will be no consistency. And so the problem is that we just can't do it at a competent level. It's not a competent level run.
Well, look, I even see Baltimore. I watched Baltimore against the Chiefs. I watched Derrick Henry with the Titans. Even he was getting stopped. For -1, and I seen games.
What was that? I'm sorry. Repeat. I can't type and listen. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good, bro. No, I was saying I watched Baltimore week 1 against the Chiefs, and I watched him when he was with the Titans.
Oh, but their offensive line took a big skid. Their offensive line.
That's what I'm saying. I watched him get stopped. They were a power running team.
They were, but they lost two offensive linemen.
You're not just going to always be successful.
They lost 2 offensive linemen.
Right. The point I'm getting at is you're not, even if you're a power running team, you're not always going to. It's never always going to work, even if you're really good at it.
No.
It's the other side gets paid too, bro. I mean, yeah. Right. That's what.
But look at Baltimore last year. Look at Baltimore last year. They had Morgan Moses and they had the right guard who left. Both those guys
Ronnie
left.
Stanley?
And no, Stanley's the left tackle, but they had a right guard. I can't remember his name. I can't remember. He went
Daniel Faley. Oh, Lindenbaum, Tyler Lindenbaum, right?
No, he's a center. They had the right guard. I can't remember his name now. My memory sucks. I'm old. But Morgan Moses, the right tackle.
Daniel Faley or something.
I can't. No, it's not him.
Gotcha.
He went someplace.
Lindstrom?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. Let me check. I'll check right now. I'm sorry. Let me check right now. It's just gonna kill me. Let me see.
You're like me. I know. You gotta think about something. You gotta know it.
Yeah, it's
actually, bro. I'm not gonna lie. My phone is on 15% right now.
All right, we'll get it.
It's good. If I die on the phone.
All right, no worries. Hold on a second.
I'll stay.
Zietler, Kevin Zietler, who was 340 pounds. Yeah. So they had Kevin Zietler and Morgan Moses on the right side. You took them out, and they were even saying all offseason they're really concerned about their offensive line. They're like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And they really didn't get anybody right. You know, but it's the offensive line that makes the NFL world go round. I've been trying to say that for years. You don't have to have top 5, but you have to have a coherent skill set build, and you have to have at least an average across the board of both depth and talent. And if you have one guy below par, then the other position groups need to be incrementally higher. The problem is we got a bunch of garbage and nice guys, all awesome guys, but it's terrible. Offensive line sets the difficulty level, and the difficulty level sets the consistency level. And so the problem is Chris Greer's and Mike McDaniel said this on the offensive line. The media said back them up and Barry we trust, and the fans go, oh, okay, but that's not the reality. I don't normally do this, but my accuracy is better than just about anybody because I just hold the basic fundamental football principles like Rain Man that anybody could hold to, and I've been applying them since 2021, and that's why I'm so accurate. It starts with the offensive line. And then once that's settled, then you build out. Like I can do receiving group and running back group and quarterback group. I can go to defense. I can do that. But until you get the offensive line set, there's nothing else that's going to hit the meter, whether you're going to succeed or not, until that's resolved. And then you move out. But every year it's the same thing. We could do this or that. It's not. It's the offensive line. It's been terrible. We had some potential in 22 because we had 3 studs. But the rest of the guys were garbage. And then Tehran got injured, and we had no depth. And we wanted to force feed Eichenberg. And remember Smith and the offensive line coach in 2022 were battling. One wanted Jones and one wanted Eichenberg. And then the guy who wanted Jones got fired. And then we said, Butch Barry, we trust. And then Eichenberg started. And then he was the backup center. Insane.
Yeah.
By the way, there's a guy on Seattle. There's a guy on Seattle this week as a guard. Guy that I wanted in this year's draft. I think he was starting Christian Haynes. I think he's playing on the Seahawks next to Eichenberg.
He's still a developmental player. Al from 3 yards per carry, who I have utmost respect for. I love that guy. I really do, man. I really do.
I think he was starting. I saw him against Denver because somebody went out.
Yeah, he came in. Yeah. Well, every year there's guys that you got to take shots. If you look at the teams that succeed, they find a couple of guys in the 3rd to 7th round. And if you could find some guys in the 3rd to 7th round on an offensive line, it's like nitro to your offensive build. Every team does it. Look at KC. Every team finds guys. In that late second.
Kingsley Sayatamala or whatever. Yeah, Kingsley Sayatamala or
Sayatamala. I mean, he's got flaws, and he's being protected by the rest of the offensive line. They screwed up. They're really brilliant. But it shows to show you they paid Taylor. I didn't know they paid him $26 million a year, and he sucks. The right tackle.
Oh, Donovan Smith.
Yeah, John Taylor, who's always offside. They paid him like $26 million a year, and so no one's perfect. But I mean, come on, that interior Creed and the left guard is awesome, and then they got the guy from the Patriots, the right guard. So
Joe Tooney,
we suck. We suck. I hate to say it, until it's resolved. And then once it's resolved, it doesn't mean we're going to.
Well, even last year, everybody was saying our O-line sucked, though. Even last year, it was the same.
I've been saying since 21.
O-line.
I've been saying since 21.
Well, not you. You.
I'm the guy. I'm the negative guy. I'm the offensive line guy.
Well, we'd love to have yeah. I'll be honest. Around the league, it's a pandemic, bro. Like, there's very few teams with really good. I'm talking about quality O-lines. You can count them on hand, bro. That have a quality O-line.
Yeah, the lack of reps, the lack of practice reps hurts. But the smart teams invested in talent to compensate. The dumb teams said it don't matter. And I'm sorry, we're one of the dumb teams. So, guys, I'm sorry.
Well,
Cody,
I don't
Cody.
think it's a shocker that, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Get to finish.
Go ahead.
No, say.
Yeah, because I'm at like 9% right now. No, I was going to say, I don't think it's a shocker that Dan Campbell has a good O-line. Look around the league at the teams that actually have good O-lines. Look at the coach. They take on the personality of their coach, and I think the team takes on the personality of the leadership in general. Whether it's McDaniel, whether it's Tua, whether it's Dan Campbell, and I don't want to say Jared Goff, but anyways, my point is you kind of take on the personality of your team, man. And unfortunately, we're a small team led by small leadership, and it shows on the field, man. It's pretty much what happens. But yeah, man, I don't want to lose you guys. I want to thank you, bro. Cody, great to see you. Let's do this again soon. Thank you for letting me talk, bro. I apologize.
Anytime. No, I loved it. I love it. I really do, man.
Thanks, guys.
Be good, brother. Cody,
all right, go Dolphins.
Let's see, Cody, you can wrap it up.
Okay.
Oh, so we're the worst line in the NFL led the NFL in most categories. It was fine until the injuries added up. Yeah, but in fluff categories. And it really stuffed over a course of 3 or 4 games. If you take out the Broncos, Giants, and Panthers game, all of a sudden you see a lot of all those fantabulous stats drop. Go check out all the other games. And even you can go back in 22, and you can see we struggled even when we had healthy guys because there was such gaping holes in the other areas. So, everyone could come to their own opinion. But I'll disagree on that because reality is you weren't putting points in for a reason, and you really struggled quite often, both 22 and 23. So.
Yeah. And you look how the defenses are playing us. They're telling us exactly what they're going to take away from you, and they have no fear. And I keep thinking, what can we do going forward? Because if we're not going to move any guys around, if we're not going to get any different picks, if we're not going to move coaches, GMs, we either have to find a way somehow, put Paul in there, I have no clue, to run up the middle, or we need a mobile quarterback who's going to make them at least play a little differently than what they're doing right now because they're shutting it down. They know the pass is coming. They know exactly if they need to drop or not. And Tua, they're not afraid of Tua running out. We saw what Tua did when he finally started stepping up in the pocket. He put his shoulder down and let us all down doing that. And I feel bad for the guy. I understand it. Like, I've always thought he had a warrior mentality, but not a warrior's body. And that's tough for him. But I think Skylar should bootleg it right out first play and just run to the outside and just let him know, hey, we're going to start doing this. And I don't know. Curtis. It sucks, man. But I love the Dolphins. I'm going to keep watching. But my expectations are just completely on pause. And that's the way I have to look at it.
I just think that, for me, if Dolphins are family, I'm just here to, if I wasn't evaluating in my, my cred was on the line for being, some people don't care. They just say, W do this, and it doesn't happen. And they just keep going positive, and they have 10 million strikes of losses. They don't care. I don't do it like that, So for me, I love the game. I just love, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for my team. If it's 5 years from now, it's 10 years. If I drop dead and it doesn't happen, it's just, I just want to be honest, and I enjoy it no matter what. 1 in 15 season, no, I'm not going to. It's tough, and I try to find joy in other games and stuff. But, honestly, when I went to that Dolphins game and I saw those other Dolphin fans, man, it really made me a better fan. Because I've never been to a Dolphins home game. And so for me, it's like just to be here with you guys and listen to you call like I can't come in Friday. I'm down. It's there's a family to it, So it's like, look, you just got to be honest. I've always been that way. I'd rather be told I got cancer than everybody saying, oh, is this a little something? I just want to know the truth, And whatever it is, I'm a Dolphins fan till the day I die. I'm with Dolphin fans that will be there till the day, and I'm waiting and I'm hoping. But I just believe that if we all evaluate fairly, we'll put people's feet to the fire, and maybe it will help us get to where we need to go. And so that's why I try to be honest. People say I'm negative or whatever, but to me, the only way to success is truth. And if the fan base buys into it and they accept lie after lie, then you're just going to get garbage. No one, if you're not an informed consumer, then like I said, you're getting pooped in a tortilla and they're going to tell you it's Chipotle. So we just can't be depressed. We got to hope that something comes up. Maybe we're wrong, but just be honest that at the end of the season, the right guys get the eval. And, we say, hey, you know what? We're 5-12. Greer, you suck. You got to be fired. And we're not accepting, we're going to get all those picks and put it all together. Then you're not really being helpful to the team.
Yeah.
Then you're just another sucker.
I learned the most listening to opinions I don't like. Steve Molly, the first time I heard anything come out of his mouth, I'm like, oh man, I disagree with that guy about Tua. But I've listened to him and watching you guys talk the other night, like that show you did on his podcast, like I learned a lot about football and I learned a lot about what's going on with his offense and why it's not working. And it's so fundamental. But if I didn't want to hear any of that, and if I wanted to just keep believing in what I wanted to believe in, this narrative about Tua, I just really think this guy's going to take us to the promise. But I wasn't looking at some of the most important parts of my team thinking, oh, I haven't seen this O-line yet, and we're going to make the adjustments coming into year 3. Like, no. So I got to listen to people that I don't agree with, that I think are educated, and not just dismiss their opinions. And we could all learn a lot more doing that.
Well, let's hope. Let's hope that eventually we get there sooner rather than later. I'm getting old, brother. So anyway, guys, I'm sorry if I didn't get into all your comments. The film thing I got absorbed. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I appreciate everything. I got to do this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all this stuff. I need that stuff so I can keep doing this thing. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you all, you Dolphin fans, non-Dolphin fans. I just appreciate football fans and being able to talk this game. Appreciate Jason for being here, my man Cody, who's the best guy in the universe. And I will see you soon. Tomorrow, if you're interested, I'm doing the AFC Shakedown. We're all going to be talking about the AFC East, all the guys from the different teams at 4 p.m. Eastern. So I hope you enjoy. And I'm going to get some interesting stuff for you next week and coverage, obviously, on the game. So anyway, you all the best. I appreciate all of you. Curtis saying, catch you next time. Be well. Me and Cody are saying, go Fins and all that stuff.
Yep.